I'm on a mission to watch the recent Super Sentai crossover movies, which means it's time to take a journey through time for the next one. Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and before I talk about Osama Sentai King-Ohger VS Kyoryuger, please let me know what you thought of the movie down in the comment section, or you can share what you think of the two seasons individually. If you want to know my thoughts on Kyoryuger, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because I have an upcoming video brought to you by today's sponsor. JP Fans is a Japanese proxy website that lets you buy from Japanese marketplaces like Mercari and Amazon Asia. You can shop for thousands of local Japanese items, including the newest Kamen Rider toys and gadgets, or pre-owned Super Sentai robots from many years ago. Items you wouldn't normally see on your local Amazon, and much cheaper compared to the prices on eBay. And compared to other proxy sites, JP Fans has lower service fees per item and free quality photos of your purchase upon arrival. So if you've been hunting for that one specific item, or just want to explore what Japan has to offer beyond tokusatsu merchandise, you've got to use my link in the description to sign up and instantly get 8 shipping coupons to make the trip from the private warehouse to your house that much easier. If you'd like a full tutorial on the site and how to use it, make sure you check out my JP Fans introduction video, and stop overpaying on your tokusatsu toys and start shopping like a local at JP Fans. I've talked about King-Ohger extensively before, season review, previous crossover movie, the previous crossover with Kyoryuger. I've got another one coming up, so you probably know my thoughts on the season by now. But what I haven't told you guys is that after King-Ohger finished airing, I went and watched all of獣電戦隊キョウリュウジャー. In anticipation for this movie, I wanted to understand the movie. I mean, I understood the crossover, but I figured the movie would be a different beast. I was right. So I am working on a full season review of that show. Should be done later this year, but in the meantime, I've got a movie to talk about. And I'm really glad I watched Kyoryuger for this thing, because, I mean, Kyoryuger is a great season. Spoiler for my review. But in many ways, this is more of a Kyoryuger 10th anniversary celebration instead of like a straight up crossover film with the King-Ohgers, which makes sense because they already kind of did a straight up crossover in the show. And this really complements the show well. Like, I love how the first half of the movie is kind of just filling in the gaps and giving more context to the events around the season crossover. I mean, first of all, because that crossover in the show focused on 4 of our Kyoryugers, this one's able to focus on the other 3 that were not able to be in the crossover that are the main members of the team. And Prince is like a through line connecting the 2 of them, which is pretty neat. So, like, seeing the actual fight between King and Uchi and Yayoi against Douglas that they teased in the show is pretty cool. Prince showing up in the show was kind of just like, oh, he's a super warrior from a different timeline. And this actually showing the timeline he's from, how he came to our timeline in the right before the show events was pretty cool. Also, like, seeing the placing the second cameo of Prince in King-Ohger later into this movie after they've seen, like, kind of the plot of this movie is really interesting, because it's not just like everything happening at once. Like, we get a lot more context to that, which is really cool. Like, this makes the show, not just the Kyoryuger crossover, but also, I guess, like, the King-Ohger show feel a little bit better. Not that it was bad having Prince show up later, but like we kind of know everything else that's happening with that, which is pretty cool. I do like how Uchi's just off screen watching the entire Kyoryuger crossover, and that King is like a little necklace that Doug Dead is wearing for all of the second half of King-Ohger, and they're like right as the camera cut that we saw in the season, now they show up. Like, it's kind of, it feels like a retcon, but it's kind of funny too. I did like how they're incorporated into that. Uchi himself is definitely the MVP of this movie. He's already one of my favorites from the Kyoryuger show, so I'm very happy he gets way more time to shine in this, and with Yayoi, who's another one of my favorites from the Kyoryuger show. I feel like the 2 of them don't really get a lot together in the show, so it's really fun to see they're like a boy failed girl boss duo. Like, Yuji is the running gag of f***ing up the time travel, and it's incredible. I love it, because well, first of all, it gives us the return of the 100 years after Kyoryuger team, which is really great. I wasn't expecting to see them in the movie, so it's just a nice kind of, again, like a Kyoryuger anniversary movie. Let's throw in the forgotten team of Kyoryugers, and he also causes the plot of the film because he creates the alternate timeline. Oopsies. And this is what I mean when I say it's more of a Kyoryuger anniversary, because that first half really just focuses on the Kyoryugers. The only King-Ohger part is that they're in the crossover and we replay footage from that. The actual King-Ohgers don't show up until like halfway through, and it's the evil alternate timeline versions. And now the plot is to save the King-Ohgers. I don't really have a lot to say about like the timeline portions with the King-Ohgers. I don't know, like it was whatever to me. But I really like how the main villain of this is Gira, but like the evil clacked insect version of Gira. Like it's really cool to see that version of events play out if he actually went on to be the successor to Doug Dead. And the suit he gets is so hot for that, so I'm really not mad. And the fact he uses the caliber 0 for it, very cool. You know, Rackley's isn't in this thing at all, so I guess that's why they gave it to the Gira. And I will say it is a little disappointing Rackley's is not in here, purely because, not purely, he's my favorite character in King-Ohger, but I also think there's a gag somewhere about how he is like kind of silverish and gray, and Kyoryuger has a silver and gray ranger, so they could have made a joke with that. Alternatively, you could have him fight with the rival of Kyoryuger, but they refused to bring that suit back ever. So my other issue with the movie is the time travel, and it's mainly like the one bit where Uchi drops into the 100 years after timeline, and then the next time we see him, there's like a little caption that says a few weeks later, and he's in the crossover with King-Ohger now, and it's just like, how did he do that? Because it's 100 years after. He should be in like 2113, right? Like I think that's what it's supposed to be, and somehow he walked for a few weeks and popped up in 2023. King-Ohger came out in 2023. Oh my god, I feel old. But yeah, I don't know, that part's, I guess, movie magic. The other part that's like very minor, but I just have to ask, because it's the opening of the movie, which we start with Uchi going like, oh, I messed up the timeline. Yayoi's like, oh, don't worry, I fixed Plezuan, so we can time travel now. And then they time travel out as the planet explodes, and it feels like we're setting up like a time loop thing where they're going to keep traveling through time to fix events or something like that. But then like we never get where that scene places in the movie. Like once we get to that point in the story, everything's fine. Or like they, not everything. Yeah, everything's fine. The kings are brought back. King has his friends. Gira's separated. Like, everything works out. So it's just like, what was the evil timeline we saw in the beginning of the movie that's never addressed or anything? But it is funny that Plezuan can time travel now, because in Kyoryuger they said the original Judenryu was modified to be a spaceship. So he's been modified twice, and he's just unstoppable. Or she. Is Plezuan she? A time travel moment I do like is how King uses the frozen Minogan to jump from the end of the Kyoryuger timeline into the alternate King-Ohger timeline with their own Minogan. Because, like, I don't know, they set up this little bit of time travel in King-Ohger. So if we're doing time travel in a whole movie, you might as well use that to your advantage. And I wonder if it plays into the next crossover movie, just because I know Minogan is in the next one. But I haven't seen it yet as I'm recording this, but my review of it should be up over on Patreon. And not just my review, my full extended footage review, plus the one of this video, plus the one of plenty of other videos. So if you're interested in helping out me or the channel, it's only $2, and you get access to all of that, plus a bunch of other perks. So please consider checking it out. King isn't in much of this movie, really, but it's fine, because, you know, I like Uchi more. But I got enough of him to be satisfied. Like, having him jump timelines, having the little moments of him interacting with the cast right after the King-Ohger finale, like, happens is pretty cool. Like, again, it's kind of funny. It's filling in the gaps. Like, oh, King was there. We just didn't see it, guys. Don't worry about it. The last 20 minutes, like 20 or so minutes of this, are straight up action. Glorious King-Ohger, Kyoryuger action. I didn't mean to say King-Ohger. I meant to say just Kyoryuger action. But it's fine. like, what do we got? The King-Ohgers get their civilian mid-fight roll calls, which just looks really cool. The 7 main Kyoryugers reunite plus Prince. So amazing to witness. But we also get the other 10 Kyoryugers, sorry, the other 3 Kyoryugers. So all 10 Kyoryugers appear in this movie, having Torin and the Spirit Rangers specifically defeat our undead galactic insect. Was a little fun twist. I like that we get a big team pose of everyone, at, like, not even as the final, like, defeat of the monsters. They just took a video of them posing, and Cyan's, like, off in the corner for some reason, but it looks cool. It'll be a good thumbnail. There's, like, a multiple minute long sequence of power-ups happening. Like, King transforms into his power-up. He pulls out 2 brand new Judenchi out of nowhere to summon CG heads of Ryu Soldier Mecha to give him, like, a brand new souped up carnival form. But there's, like, literally 5 minutes in between him summoning the form and the actual fight scene with the form. Because in between that, we get the King-Ohgers getting carnival arms, which is so fun. Like, both teams get power-ups in this movie, which is great. I mean, not really. The Kyoryugers just arm on. Uchi gets the gold arms, which is cool, but why don't we give Yayoi a normal armed on? She doesn't need anything ridiculous, but okay, I guess we don't want to do anything fun. And, like, I mean, this special is just fun. It's amazing. I'm really glad I watched Kyoryuger beforehand so I could get the full experience. I'm not done with King-Ohger yet. As I've mentioned, I got the one last crossover movie to take a look at, plus a few Kyoryuger videos on the horizon, so make sure you subscribe for all of that. And I hope to see you next time.